Welcome back everyone. It's been a long time since the last video. Life gets busy and things just get pushed back. Anyways, let's not waste any more time. Let's just get into it. After years of dreaming of owning a Hasselblad, I finally saved up enough money through selling a bunch of camera gear, and I pulled the trigger on this brand new in the box Hasselblad 503CX. I already put a few test rolls through it and took it on a couple shoots, but we'll actually talk about the Hasselblad a little bit later on. For now, we'll start with one of the few hikes we did this summer. I typically get out a lot more, but this time we start our first hike in mid-July. I usually like to plan our hikes around sunset for the best light and photos, and we got to the trailhead with plenty of time. However, there was so much wind that day. As we got further up, the trail got more exposed and more windy, and due to the high winds, we decided not to go all the way to the top, and it was probably for the best anyways. Once we reached the pass, we ducked down behind some rock to get some shelter from the wind, and we enjoyed one of our favorite hiking foods, the torpedo sub from the Italian Center. I loaded up a roll of Kodak Gold 200 in my Leica M4-P and had an existing roll of Fujifilm Pro 400H to finish up in my Hasselblad. I decided to set up the tripod with the Hasselblad to shoot a self-portrait of Joe and I. I figured we don't usually get a lot of photos of us two together, so may as well grab one while we had the time. For this, I set up my shot and used a 20-foot shutter release cable that I got from B&H. Now, if you'll notice the dark around the top and the bottom of the frame, this is where things actually get a little bit kind of sad for me, but we'll actually get into that a little bit later. As the sun went down, we decided to head down the trail as well and get ourselves out of the wind. We took our time heading down the trail and enjoyed the last little bit of light on the peaks while the trees sheltered us from most of the wind. This next place takes part just after our wedding. We head towards Vancouver, and after a smoky drive and a quick pit stop for some sushi, we ended up at Joe's family cabin, where we got to enjoy some relaxing time spent outside. In the morning, we packed up and finished our trek to Vancouver. We didn't have any real plans for Vancouver, so we kind of just did the typical Vancouver tourist things like visit Granville Island, Stanley Park, and walk along the seawall. For sunset, Joe and I drove up to Cypress Mountain Lookout. While waiting for the sun to set, we played a couple games of crib and enjoyed some of the cars ripping up and down the road. Well, I did at least.
I won. I won fair and square.
The next day, we continued our trip further south along the Chuckanut, stopping in this cute little town called Edison. It's pretty small, it's like 4 or 5 streets, but it's got tons of character and we enjoyed some tacos along the way. Our main activity as we reached Washington was to play a lot of disc golf. You don't see any of it in this video, but you can check out my wife, Joe's channel for all of her disc golf content. So during the day, Joe and I would play a lot of disc golf, and in the evenings, we'd kind of find little photo adventures for sunset. I didn't really get any video footage here as I got pretty exhausted from the heat and disc golf all day, but we got the opportunity to hit up a couple classic P&W spots for some photos. Our second hike of the summer didn't really go as planned. Again, it was for sunset, but the original sunset hike that we'd planned was at Lake Louise, and it got so busy we couldn't even park in the parking lot. So with a quick Google search and a drive down the road, we found this other hike, and without a lot of knowledge on it, we decided to head up anyways. This hike surprisingly only took us an hour to get to the top, and we were rewarded with some incredible views with an abandoned fire lookout and our favorite hiking meal, again, a torpedo sandwich from the Italian Center. Remember that self-portrait from the last hike with the dark on the top and the bottom of the frame? Well, turns out it's a much bigger issue than I had expected, and spoiler alert, I shot 2 blank rolls on the Hasselblad. So now my camera's been sent in and hopefully it can be serviced. Luckily, I still had my Fujifilm XPro3 and my Leica M4-P and shot a couple rolls. I shot 1 roll of Cinestill 400D and 1 roll of Portra 400. This was my first time shooting Cinestill 400D and I was super pumped to try it out. My initial reaction to the 400D is actually pretty good, I would say. I like the warm tones, the color palette, and the wide exposure latitude. And since I don't really like a lot of halation, I rated the film at 400 rather than 200 and overexpose it, so that way I could just get a proper exposure and kind of minimize the halation. This next little trip we went on this summer was to Portland, Oregon. I swear this ride out there was the hottest day of the summer because I think the thermometer inside the car read 40 degrees Celsius, and to our luck, the AC didn't really work. And after a long day of driving in the heat, we finally made it to the outskirts of Portland just in time for sunset, and we made a quick stop at Rowena Crest. In contrast to the heat the day before, we ended up getting some of that classic P&W rain. So we decided, since it was wet anyways, we would check out some of the waterfalls along the river gorge.
Blue Star donut, creme brulee donut. I think it's Conferro. It's very good. You ready for your bite?
Like our last trip, we played a lot of disc golf during the day. Outside of that, we wind down with walking around the Airbnb that we stayed at. During our visit to Oregon, we had a couple good friends of ours offer to let us stay at their vacation rental right along the coast. This was a super awesome opportunity that we couldn't pass up, and we're super grateful for that. Where we were staying was only about a 45-minute drive to one of my favorite places I've ever visited, called Cape Kiwanda. I didn't intend on making a video for this trip in Oregon, but I had so many photos from this trip that I figured I'd share them anyways. We spent a lot of time playing disc golf, as I mentioned earlier. Aside from that, we'd walk around this cute little neighborhood we found. I would usually shoot photos, and Joe would be making friends with all the neighborhood cats and goats. That about wraps it up for this video. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I had a ton of photos to share that haven't been shared to Instagram or posted anywhere for that matter. I do plan on making a lot more of these film photography related videos. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
My precious stick.